Yeah.
My favorite.
It's Judd's Hockey Show.
And welcome into Judd's Hockey Show with Judd and Declan. And ladies and gentlemen, we always tell you to be prepared for Judd's Hockey Show to pop anytime, anywhere, because if there's news involving the Wild, we are most likely going to drop everything we are doing and address it. And we have news today from Seattle, home of Phil Mackey and the Kraken, where the Wild will play tonight. Matt Zuccarello and Rem Pitlick going on the COVID-19 list as the spread of COVID, this is very unfortunate, continues throughout the team. They had a few assistant coaches not go to Vancouver, including Darby Hendrickson, because they were in COVID protocol. Actually, Bill Guerin has been in quarantined as well, has dealt with it of late. But now, not surprisingly, I guess, Dex, it has spread to the players. Matt Zuccarello and Rem Pitlick out tonight. If they test positive again tomorrow, they're going to have to stay in Seattle for, 10 days?
Yeah, I think so.
A quarantine there. So the story is this. Those two players definitely will not play tonight. Why don't you tell us about what the Wild is doing, Dex? And then this gives us an opportunity to speculate about line combinations, but tell us what the news is as far as who might replace these guys.
Yeah, it sounds like the Wild will recall Connor Dewar, John Lizotte, Kyle Rao from Iowa to take the roster spots in lieu of obviously Zuccarello and Pitlick being placed on the COVID list. Yes, they will not play against the Seattle Kraken. Rao's this is classic Kyle Rao call-up, and it still infuriates me. He played in a playoff game or two last year. He does have 5 points in 4 games in Iowa this year, but I mean that's Kyle Rao. He's just going to be a prolific AHL player, and that's fine.
They call him a quad A player in baseball. Quad A.
And you know what? Of all the 3 guys they called up, he probably might draw in tonight against Seattle, being the most likely person since you have to fill out 2 roster spots. And we'll recklessly speculate here in just a little bit on what that looks like. But at the same time, 3 guys coming up, and you just really hope that Zuccarello and Pitlick, number one, obviously for their health, are okay and don't get further sick. But 2, because, if they test positive again, I believe tomorrow, they will have to stay in Seattle quarantined for 9 days and then won't be able to rejoin the Wild until, I believe, 10 days after, a negative test. So that could be a potential very big loss, losing Mats. Pitlick was nice. I wanted to see what else he could do, and it's unfortunate for Pitlick, but you lose your leading scorer in Matt Zuccarello, and that is a blow to the Wild. But I'm hoping that obviously this isn't too long, because the Wild were 100% vaccinated going in to this season.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
And obviously this is the nature of COVID. It's still an ever-changing beast. So hopefully they're all right. But yeah, they will be without Matt Zuccarello and Rem Pitlick for Seattle.
All right, so I think you're right. I think Kyle Rao plays. Now, just to clear this up, and I don't know if there's concern here. There might be. Lizotte is a defenseman, and so far they have not placed a defenseman on this list. I'm curious if there's concern. Now, I think the first defenseman, assuming he's not sick, to get in would be Jordy Ben.
Yes.
Ben would get in because he has been the first guy scratched as far as the defensemen go. You also have to figure that, like, let's say Rao plays tonight, and guess what, Declan? Victor Rask is going to be back in too. Almost certainly he's going to play. But let's get to the A talker here. Let's get to the real reason why Judd's Hockey Show dropped everything and decided to record an episode to talk about the Kraken Wild game without 2 players. And that is the first line. Eriksson Ek, Kirill Kaprizov, and Declan Goff.
Kevin Fiala.
And
Kevin Fiala. I'm speaking it into existence. Obviously, if you're consuming our podcast right now, or even after they've skated in Seattle with these lines possibly being coming out from the beat writers or from the team and whatnot, this might be old news and whatnot, but this is the perfect time to unleash Kevin Fiala with the unfortunate circumstances with Zuccarello going on the COVID list. You may as well here, man. I mean, there's no reason for you not to put some firepower with Kirill. Kirill is struggling. He's still shooting the puck a lot. This was something we didn't talk about in the last Judd's Hockey Show and on with Phil Mackey, our hockey whisperer, I should say, in our last Wild discussion on Score North. It's not that Kirill isn't shooting enough, and I don't have the visual in front of us for our visual audience. He's not going to high danger chances. he's not putting himself in situations to score high danger goals. Now, he's a player that's very talented and can score goals from non-high danger players, or high danger areas. That's what makes him and so many other players special players, is because they can score goals from next to anywhere on the ice, right? But if you're not putting yourself in positions to succeed at high danger situations, well, you're handcuffing yourself. And perfect, Eureka. You know who can help out with that? Kevin Fiala. So right. Unleash Kevin Fiala, dude.
It feels like Fiala also, without having checked out the stats that you're talking about, Dex, it also feels like Fiala is going to, and especially did against the Canucks, high danger chances.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's going into, it felt like throughout the game against the Canucks on Tuesday that Fiala spent a lot of that game in areas where you're probably going to get hit and cross-checked and slashed.
Yep.
But yeah, and so you could say, well, but Declan, here's where there's a problem. Kirill Kaprizov and Fiala are left-handed shots, and who plays the right side? Remember, both of them feel comfortable playing the off wing as well.
I agree.
So there really is no compelling case unless you just won't do it. There's no compelling case not to do it. There really is not. Like this is a golden opportunity to say, let's give it a shot. And yes, it's a lot of offensive firepower potentially on one line, but what better time to try it than when Kaprizov is scuffling?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Worst case, if Kirill decides, I like to pass still. Tonight I'm going to pass. And to defend him a little bit on Tuesday against the Canucks, he had 4 shots on goal, so he did shoot on Tuesday. But if he decides I'm going to pass, 22 ain't going to pass back.
Mm-hmm.
22 is going to shoot. I think you are 1,000% right. And here's why I also think it works perfectly. So if you put Fiala, let's just say for the sake of this conversation, on the right wing with Ek and Kaprizov, your second line then can be Bukestad, Gaudreau, and I don't care, put Rask back there. He was playing there before. Yep. It's not a disaster. It's fine. Your fourth line then can just have Rao on the wing.
So who
DeWard does not play. So Sturm, Duhaime, and Rao. Which, by the way, Rao is a quad A player,
mm-hmm.
but he can skate. So like the speed of that line is not like compromised completely. So the fourth line, Duhaime on the wing, Rao on the wing, Sturm at center. Mm-hmm. And Rao is a fourth line
mm-hmm.
worker.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Rask much, but he played second line until the game against Vancouver on Tuesday, right? So Bukestad, Rask, Gaudreau, second line, technically, or third.
Yeah.
But then most importantly, that pretty much seamlessly, I think, gets you to a first line of Kaprizov and Fiala centered by Ek.
Yes.
I think it actually works.
Yeah. So I actually would I'd change things up a little bit here with your third mm-hmm. and fourth lines, as we love to do, because this is just total great reckless speculation. I don't have the sounder in front of me. I can't fire it right now.
Reckless speculation.
There he is. I would actually move Sturm up to the third, and I'd put him on the wing. I would actually put him on the wing with Gaudreau and Bukestad. Because I actually really like the idea of the playmaking of that. Now, I know Duheime's been a really good player, and I don't want to sacrifice him, but I would just put Duhaime, Rask, and Rao together on the fourth. And I know Rask has been more used as a wing, and Rao can also play some center and some wing. I would do that. I would like to see Sturm get a little bit more elevated minutes and see if Bukestad playing hot right now and Gaudreau having more skill than I think he does. I would rather see that. That's the tweak I would make.
I'm going to push back a little bit by saying I like how that fourth line is going so much, and I like Sturm at center so much. Mm-hmm. I don't want to move him to wing. That fourth line is, and this is a complete cliche, but in this case, I buy it. That fourth line is fourth line in name only. Like, they've been a really good line.
You're right.
And Sturm has done a great job. And he's won a ton of faceoffs, which, he could still take him playing wing. There's no rule against it. But I guess my point is this. If you do what you just said, and I get why you're saying it, I think you take that fourth line and make it a true fourth line. And they've been too good to do that. So I would probably just put Rask there on the wing on the line that he was previously playing on, get Fiala off that line. And then it really becomes, so I guess if you were to break the lines down then, it really becomes the Goudreau line becomes the definitive third line because Hartman, Foligno, Greenway are the second line then, which is fine. It's all just based in what we consider to be line numbers and combinations. But I don't want to move Sturm off of where Sturm is playing because I think he's been damn good, and I think that fourth line has been a huge help to this team.
I agree. You're probably right. They don't want to mess with that too much. If they want to slide off one person and not break up Duheim and Sturm, I understand the logic there. I just think this is an opportunity, again, unfortunate opportunity with Pitlick and Zuccarello on the COVID list that I want to see, number one, Kevin Fiala get the most benefit of this. And two, I do want to see Sturm. You and I have been calling for him. And Fiala has more to gain moving up than probably Sturm does because Sturm has the chemistry right now on the fourth line. You maybe even don't want to, not fix something that isn't broken. Where with Fiala, you can tell that this just makes natural sense to move him up because he's, one of the most talented players and he's been pretty much been buried on a lower line. What I don't want to see is Bukestad get up to that first line. Even with how well he's played, I can see a situation, because they did this last year, I could see a situation where it's Bukestad who gets the other side of that wing with Kaprizov and Ek. I wouldn't be shocked. They dropped the puck late tonight at 9 p.m. Central, Judd. I wouldn't be shocked. It's not. I don't want it. I'm not trying to speak that into existence, but that wouldn't surprise me. Just I'm warning you. Just giving you a little warning.
That's a good point. So if the right wing is not going to be Fiala and he's going to be left with Goudreau, that's a really good question. Who takes that right wing? I think the Fiala thing's too tempting to try.
I want that.
I'm with you though. Like if they do Bukestad, and Bukestad's he's off to a really good start. He's gained he's healthy. He looks faster, I think, than he's probably ever looked in a Wild jersey before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that thought at all.
I'm just saying, man.
Ooh.
Don't rule it out. Don't rule it out. And if you heard it here first, if that's what happened. But yeah. And lastly, obviously, just a quick little one-timer on this episode, because the Wild do play tonight at 9:00 against Seattle. And again, we can be burned by this, but I know that Zuccarello and Pitlick are out, but still put Capo in tonight. Just put Kakkonen in tonight. You're playing Colorado. Don't put Talbot out for 3 straight games. Are you going to put Talbot out for 3 straight games on this road trip? Are you going to do that?
All right, dude. It's staggered. It's staggered enough. I'm not guaranteeing they won't. Talbot definitely gets Saturday in Colorado.
Yeah, no question.
Talbot gets that for sure. I mean, but they're playing Tuesday, off Wednesday, playing Thursday. I am not going to be surprised if Cam Talbot. Now, do I think it's a good idea to basically forget about Kaapo Kakkonen? No. Don't throw. In fact, you know what? Don't forget about this guy. We don't need him on a milk carton. Don't forget about Kaapo. You're right about that.
I will say, if they're not going to play him against the Kraken tonight, they're home against the Sens on Tuesday. Then start him then. Then you got the Penguins, the Isles, the Coyotes, the Knights. I just
I'd start him tonight. I think you're right. I'd start him on the road. There's less pressure there. I think you are making a great call, but I think these guys are going to ride Cam more than we think that they should. In fact, I will compare it to this, Declan Goff. I will compare it to Zimmer and Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
I got a feeling that we might be riding Cam, and the rest of us are like, you need a second goal.
You got Alexander Madison right here. You got Kaapo Kakkonen.
Yeah, you got a guy that can play. I mean, and look, Kaapo didn't have a good first game. It's going to happen.
Right.
It's going to happen. And the team, and in Kaapo's defense, the team played like crap.
Mm-hmm.
That was not just a Kaapo Kakkonen problem. They didn't play great, and he killed them. So anyway, all right. So we're as Declan likes to say, speaking it into existence. Fiala on the right, and Kaprizov on the left.
Oh yeah.
And Eriksson Ek drops it back to Goligoski, over to Spurgeon, over to Kaprizov, to Fiala in the scores.
All right, man. Pass, shoot, score. We'll talk soon.
Things I thought could never happen to me in a punk band.
What? We Are Lady Parts, a new original comedy streaming only on Peacock.
A confused mix of hash anthems and sour girl power. Syra, vocals. Aisha, drummer. Bisma, bassist. Mumtaz, band manager. And me, Amina, lead guitar.
You were really good until you puked all over the front row.
We Are Lady Parts. All episodes streaming now. Only on Peacock.